it has cats. Hi, cats. Meow, meow, meow. Meow. Ah! Shut my wire in the drawer. That's gonna help. I know the hole's there on the incense burner somewhere. One of these days, maybe we'll find it. Alright. It is Sunday. Oh, nope, come back here. It is Sunday. It is art day. Oh. Come on. Hope everybody's doing okay today. Oh, let's see, how bad did I mess up my elbow? Not too bad. I walked backwards or leaned backwards into the wall funny and my elbow like pinched or something. I couldn't figure out why it hurt so much. And I was feeling a scab on it and I was like, oh, alright, we'll come back. Hi. No, don't bite me, brat. Okay, so it is art day. Still getting myself organized here. We are following along with Bob Ross's Joy of Painting tutorial series from season 3. We have worked our way up to episode 9, The Old Mill. The link is in the chat for anyone that wants to excuse me. Bad allergy day. We turned the heat on for the first time this morning for the season. And I don't think that helped matters. Super stuffy now. And my throat's all allergy snotty. So, links in the chat for anyone that wants to see it. That has been pinned now. We're going to pick up where we left off, which was getting in our brown here. Oh, I do need to open one more thing. This. Okay, just so I can see. Okay, that's not gonna go any smaller. That's okay. We really only need to see the top half of it right now. As I get something in my eye. Really? Did it go out? This incense burner, I swear. Maybe it's still going. Okay, no, it's still going. It's just being really slow to seep out. Okay, I thought it had put itself out. Sometimes it does put itself out somehow. Well, she was sitting next to me. I don't know where she vanished to. I thought she was going to start demanding attention and climbing up my leg again. Alright. So, I believe we were filling in over here. Oh, there she is. Alright, so I'm going to put this over here. Alright, so we're using acrylic yarn at the moment. This is going to be from Paintbox. I have two brands that I'm currently using, and that's Big Twist Value. Which is a Joann Fabrics house brand. House label, from what I understand. And the other is, that was just some water. It helps give a little bit more friction to get this stuff to do what I want it to do. And the other one is Paintbox. I believe Paintbox is a Lovecrafts house brand, I believe. I might be wrong about that, but that's the only place I've seen it. So it's either a house label or an exclusive to them. So we are gonna just dive on in and pick up where we've previously left off. We're working on getting our quote-unquote shadow color down in here for the ground. If there's any little splits in this color, that should be fine, because we've got another color that's gonna come back in here, and that should fill in any gappy-doos that we might end up with. So I hope everybody's having a good Sunday. Hope your football team won, if that's what you're paying attention to today. Or I hope your team wins tonight. I'm almost done editing that speed build for Planet Zoo. Should be done maybe sometime tomorrow. It really should have been 2 videos, but I got so deep into the first one that there was like no turning back at that point. I'm like, yeah, I'm not redoing this. So it's just going to be an extra super long speed build. That's like 4 hours long at this point. Okay. I know the big blocks of color are not the most entertaining to watch going in, but it still needs to get done. And it's still part of it. Okay. So we probably will have to fluff some more of this color. I'm expecting to. If we don't need to, then hey, that's great, but I'm expecting to have to. Sorry, I know my water's over here somewhere. I couldn't find it. I could feel it, or well, I knew, but I couldn't find it. My finger's like, nope, that's not water. That's not water. So I'm gonna bring the fluff a little bit over my edge line and kind of tap in. Okay, now it put itself up, and kind of tap in on the edge. And as I do that, it's gonna bring the fluff in from the outer edge that was over the line. Really? So apparently you can briefly set the ashes back on fire in your incense burner. Excuse me. Yeah, so that will try to help keep our edge a little bit straighter. Yeah, now it's gonna properly do its thing. Tonight we're going to try to record our fire pit. So we're kind of on a time limit to try to get that project done. Oh, you need to start your mom's car.
Yeah.
Like, I liked this incense burner when I got it. It was really cool. Or at least at the time I thought it was really cool. And it used to work pretty good, and it still kind of works pretty good as long as it has enough ventilation. But it's been hell trying to make sure it has enough ventilation lately because of where I have it sitting. There's like a carved dragon on the top of the box. I've seen some cooler ones. Wildberry has some pretty cool ones. I kind of want to try to make my own. However, I know I shouldn't. Okay. Next fuzz. Next bit of fuzzies. Okay. Just trying to find the edge of our wheel here. So that way we don't get too carried away. So like our wheel's gonna come up and then this is gonna be the outer edge of the back side of it. Or at least that's what we're attempting. So we don't have to worry about the gaps too much, but that was a little bit of a bigger gap. I meant like the little guys. Alrighty. This is gonna be the top of that weird arm thing. I guess one of the turning posts, I suppose. Or the post that it's gonna spin on. So I don't want to lose that. Been a lot of traffic today. There was an antique event in town. Well, not in town, but in town. I don't know what time they wrap up today, but it's been bringing quite a bit of traffic. Alright, so we technically didn't have to do the river bank yet. So we might weight. But I don't know. Part of me wants to get that kind of in now. But I guess we'll wait until we get that far down. So the river curves this way and then it picks up back here. I know it got a little bit busy in there with all of my sketch lines and it was hard to really pick it out. Or maybe this is our river line and this is our little bank section back in there. One of those. You get the idea. You get the idea. Okay. So that piece is a little scraggly, a little thin there. I'm just gonna kind of fold it over. On itself there. Hey, can you check that thing? When you get to a safe spot, sweetie. Bear?
Yeah?
When you get to a safe spot, can you check that thing?
Yeah.
Thank you. I put the box in the kitchen so they can play with their toy a little bit longer. Because if I didn't, Zuzu was going to end up using it for target practice.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know why it's there.
Kind of figured.
Alright, so we got... this in here. Was it boiling?
Yeah. Like boil.
I hear a chirpy little somewhere. Don't know where. Okay. All right. So we got this piece in. So looking at my sketch, I think I might just put this in now for peace of mind. That way I can set this color aside for just a little bit and we can fully move on to a different color. Okay. So we're gonna grab some of this. Now this section we need to be properly filled in. So, and we want to pay attention to our angle here. So over here.
Are you making rice today?
Yes. I can use the black pot if I need to.
I was looking to use a pot, but...
Oh.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Grab our scissors. So we're going to be doing some trimmy trims here. Oh, we still have to put in our tree. I forgot all about the tree. Okay. I was just sitting here kind of thinking, wasn't there a... Yeah, there was. Okay. So this river bank, sometimes it's hard to convey angles with this. Sometimes. Boy, now it's smoking. So we've got the scent of dragon's blood from wild berry incense. It's one of the few smells I can tolerate. Without too much trouble. It is kind of more of a smoky, earthy tone. It seems as though a lot of the more perfumey stuff is what tends to get me. Alright, so I'm not gonna fret too much if our riverbank here isn't 100% dead on here. I mean, we might have to touch it up just a little bit once we get in the water. sorted out there. Alright, so how far is this? Okay, so this comes over to maybe... Sorry, I'm looking at my sketch. Trying to see how much further this section of the riverbank's gonna be before we turn and change our angle. And you can't really see the angle that well here. We know it's there though. That's funny. My one finger, the water felt room temperature. The other finger, it felt like ice cold. I was like, ooh. Gave me a little bit of a goosebump on that index finger. My other finger's like, what's your problem? Yeah, so we might have to touch this up. Which, you know, not a huge surprise. We'll see how much of it gets eaten away by the river, and I probably should have waited because we don't have the river in yet. But I think we're okay. Alright, so when did this start to... Okay, so then over here, this side's gonna start to come in on this angle. I just didn't feel like snipping that there. And I thought we might be able to flip over and get there. We kind of did. Kind of, sort of. Okay. So we'll get this into place. And then after we get this worked in, hi Momo, what's up? I don't have any foods. There's no foods here. I know you don't believe me, but I promise I have nothing to eat. Hi. Hi, my buddy. Momo's here. Being Momo. What's up? Do you have to pee-pee? Do you have to go pee-pee? Hi. Hi. Oh, kisses. Oh, kisses. Hi. Hi. Alright, give me 1 second, okay? Oh, itchy butt. Oh, itchy butt. Can you give me 1 minute? Because I don't know what Dad's up to. I think Dad's busy, so you gotta give me 1 second, okay? And I'll take you potty. Okay. And just finish tapping this in real super quick. Okay. So give me 1 minute, you guys. Puppy wants to go potty. I will be right back. Okay. Husband ended up getting him, but I had to check on dinner on the stove. Alrighty. And I didn't realize it had warmed up quite so much, so I cracked open the window. And they were talking about putting the heat on earlier. I was like, oh, did it not warm up? So, let's see. Don't need too much more of this. Yeah, that finger thinks that water is super ice cold. And the other finger's like, yeah, it's fine. Alrighty. So take this guy back this way just a little bit more. And I'm gonna need to put a little more something right there. I mean, I suppose we don't have to. But I would like to. Just to make sure that we are good and covered. Oh. Okay, that's a little bit higher than my sketch had it. That's okay. Sorry, I was looking at this thing and looked up at my sketch and realized, oh, this was not really that high. But you know what? I think we're just gonna leave that like it is. I think I would rather leave that be with where we're at right now. Okay, we have just another little spot left here. At least along this river. So we'll get this guy. We'll put him in there. Okay, and then this piece can grab to kind of try to fill in at this angle. Alright, so now we have to put in our tree, our shadow of the tree, the dark spots of it. My incense burner is a little too smoky now. Can't see what I'm doing. Oh, wait. Nope. That's opened up. We need that covered. So let's get a little bit more water, a little bit more fluff. That's a little too big of a gap right in there. We need that filled in. As best as we can. I had one of those smoking bottle incense burners where like you have like a jump ring that, or not really a jump ring, like a key ring that you kind of wedge the stick of the incense into and then you light it and then you stick it down in the bottle. They kept going out on me. Like they were cool when they worked, but I guess the ashes would like drop before the next part caught and then it would go out, and I was like, this is not what I was wanting here. Okay. So I'm not gonna put water on this bit because I want him kind of airy. Alright, so I'm just gonna kind of shape him into his like tree shape, I guess. He kind of comes up here. He goes all the way up to the edge. He kind of goes off the edge. So I just kind of need to make sure that we're not too far over the edge just for our purposes. I'm gonna have to dial that back in just a little bit without it getting a little too crazy. So this there can be, if it happens, thin spots and stuff where the sky is poking through, that's fine. This is going to be like our main poof of the tree leaves. We can add some little satellite branches here in just a minute. Just trying to make sure that we are in fact attached here. This ended up being a little bit thicker than I was expecting it was going to be. That's okay. We have a very solidly leafed tree. And some of them are. So we're just gonna take it for what it is. And we're gonna be okay with that. Ours doesn't have to look exactly like Bob's, and ours isn't going to look exactly like Bob's. For starters, we're not using the same medium, so it's already not going to look the same. But you know, we'll see how we do. See how we go. This is a thick section of fluff, so I was just curious to see how much of that was making its way through on the back. Okay. So this guy's gonna kinda fluff out this way. Just a bit. And we'll see how we do. I might add just a little bit more to that, just so it doesn't look quite so pointy. but I don't know. It might be alright. So I'm getting this guy added in over here. So this is just going to be a lot of, you know, fluffing it out until you're happy with the shape. Hey, Doug. How are you today? Hope all is well in Dougville. There we go, that looks a little bit less pointy. Pretty good. I'm alright. Another day. Another day of battles that we're trying to pick and choose. Which ones are worth fighting and which ones just aren't. Right now, husband's battling food at the moment. That's probably pretty good fluff-wise. Probably pretty decent tree shape there. So let's start to work our way down. I'm gonna put in a trunk right now, just so I can have my placement on these lower branches. How's Mr. Nisey doing in Steve Land? It's a day. Seems to be a day for him of anxiety and food battles, and we're gonna try to do our campfire recording tonight, our fire pit, for another project I'm working on, or want to attempt to work on. So we'll see how that goes. But we need to prep the wood here this afternoon. Before it gets dark out. And then we have game night with my mom. Yeah, we have a fire pit that... How did we get that? Was it his birthday? Was it our anniversary? Maybe it was for his anniversary. I feel like we've had it for a little bit now. I'm thinking anniversary. He kept wanting to build his own. I'm like, okay, but we can't really pick it up and move it. And they keep bringing the RV here. So I don't know. And then he was looking at how much it was going to be to build our own, which he really, really wanted to do, but then he looked at how much the bricks were going to be that we could get access to, and then was looking at how much one already was. I'm like, this one's on sale, and it's already put together. So we kind of just ended up going with the put together one already. And we had that tree limb that fell, just barely missing the house off this tree in between us and the neighbor. We're fortunately on good terms with the lady that lives in there, but she's renting it. She doesn't own it, so the original owner of that property sold it to his brother. He was a trial and a half to deal with and kept trying to insist that our carport was on his property. And this isn't the first time he's tried to say that, but they did a survey when the mother-in-law bought this house. Oh shit, I didn't want to do that. And it's like on the edge of the property. She said she can't find the metal markers, but she knows they're there. And she was standing about where she believed they were, and the carport was not on his property, and we weren't fucking paying to have another survey done for no reason, because he was going to try to sell the property. And I'm like, well, if then he can pay it. He can pay for another survey if he's that hell-bent on the fact that the carport is on his property, because it shouldn't be. I don't think they would have allowed the house to sell to your mother. If the carport was on his property, they would have made the previous owners take it down, because we did not put that there. That was there when she bought the house. And he ended up selling it to his brother, I guess. And this guy's a little bit easier to deal with. So he was going to have somebody come out and cut down the tree limb. We ordered a chainsaw anyway because we kind of needed one. And Russell's like, well, can I have the branch? It was a good hefty, like, arm-hugging, thick branch that fell. Limb, I guess, would be more accurate. And they were like, yeah, that's fine. And we were going to burn that in the fire pit. And we tried twice last week to make it burn. Hasn't been long enough. That's when we found out, oh, it has to dry out 6 months before we can fucking burn it. The outside charred. It got black and white and ashy and never fucking caught fire, though. It smoldered. Like, really? Of course. So we had to get some wood. But we had to wait until this week to get it. So we picked up some from the grocery store down the street. That's one of the few things they have that's not too astronomically priced. Yeah, we realized that after the fact. So we're gonna take some of it when we get around to cleaning up the backyard once we've had like a hard freeze. We have to deal with the jungle that is our backyard because it got away from us again. We were doing okay, and then it fucking exploded. Like, we've got this one section that used to have a little tiny fence around it, and like a walk-in closet sized area that was fenced. I don't know if they were keeping garbage cans in there or what at one point, but we had all these little seed pods from the trees, little helicopter doodles, and they fell in there, and then we had some trees starting to grow, and we're like, no. And we weren't using that fenced in area, so we're like, let's just take the fence down. And we keep cutting everything down to the ground over there, and every spring it keeps taking back off because we have ragweed that's growing like crazy all over the backyard. It's taller than us. By next cold time you can use, yeah, it won't be this one. We might stack some on the porch to dry it out to keep it out of the weather. So that way it will definitely dry out a bit. it's we'll see. We were just strapped for cash, so we're like, oh yeah, we'll do this. But then my mom ended up buying the wood because it wasn't that much. I think it was like $5-6 for a bundle. We just had to wait till she gave us her quote-unquote rent money that we've been living off of right now. We've got the mother-in-law coming back. Oh god, what's today's date? Today's the 8th. They're supposed to start driving back, her and Russell's aunt, in this RV. It's not a huge RV, but it does take up some room. Probably in the next week they're gonna leave wherever the fuck they are. I think they're in New Hampshire right now. And start to drive back. They were keeping the RV and staying at his other aunt's place. However, my mother-in-law had a childish moment at one point last December while they were there, and said something very inappropriate due to the situation that was going on. And that particular sister of hers got really upset, and rightfully so, because I was upset when I found out what she did. And she realized she was in the wrong, and she did apologize, but then it was weird and awkward, and so then she felt weird staying there and didn't want to stay there, and so then they brought the RV here. They can access our sewer line to dump the RV here and on our property. And we have an outside faucet that that the aunt has heated hoses for, that she hooks up to our outside faucet so it doesn't freeze. I'm not happy about the RV being here because our backyard gets real muddy when it rains. And then the RV sinks in. It created a divot, or it wasn't level, and they had to stick one of our round paver patio bricks out there under one of the tires. And then when they left, it created a crater that I didn't see when the grass grew over it, and I fucking almost sprained my foot when I was walking back to check on his mom's car, because his mom's car is parked where they had the RV parked right now, because she left her car here this time. But they'll end up staying in the RV for the most part. His aunt never really comes in the house, and there's not really any place for her to stay in the house anyway. Damn it. Stop dropping shit. Alright. Sorry, I was getting colors. Okay. Now. I mean, are you allowed to use it? We're not in an HOA. So, and it was here all last winter, so nobody said anything. So, I don't know. The city didn't bitch about it. It was in the backyard. Maybe they didn't know. But there's a lot of people that have RVs on their properties around here. We're kind of in... We're in a farming community that's turning into suburbs. Because the real estate market went crazy here, because everybody wanted to move here. And, Now all of the farmers are selling their land at top dollar. And the hay fields are now having homes built. People are bitching because they're talking about building another 600 homes this coming year. But as far as I know, they can use it. There's somebody that's been living in an RV on their property that burnt down around the corner from us. Their house burnt down, and they've been living on an RV on the property, like a camper trailer, like a tow behind, and they've been living in that for, oh gosh, I want to say 3 or 4 years now. Because it seemed to take forever, I guess, for them to get their insurance money, and then building supplies, and then COVID and everything. And they've got the new house built, but they're not in it yet, so something must not be done yet. I guess builders are really booked. I don't know if they're waiting on appliances. Something's going on where they're not actually living in there yet. It's very strange. They have their garage. They had a garage where they accessed it through the one street. Because the property's on a, not a huge hill, but there's a slope there. And they moved the garage entrance to the other street. And there's a tree right where the garage driveway would be. And they put double garage doors on it, and Russell and I are like, huh? What's the thought process here? Because now you have to... What? Now you have to take this tree down and spend more money. I don't understand. You already had a perfectly good slab of concrete here. That's still there, by the way. Already in place, that they could have used for the driveway to get into the garage if they had left the doors on the other side. And what? They put it on the completely opposite side? And now there's a tree in the way, and now they have to lay new concrete. I don't understand, but so yeah, no, as far as I know, they can. Nobody's complained about it. Well, I complained about it being there because I didn't want it there, but, you know. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and advance the tutorial here for just a minute and see where we're at. Okay, so he did put the tree trunk in. He actually highlighted it already. I don't know if I have a highlight color over here. I mean, I've got the... No, I don't even have that. Okay, hold on. I wasn't paying attention. What color was that? Sticks and twigs, yeah. And what color was this? Okay. 1-inch brush. Highlight. Magic white. I didn't say the color grab. So yellow and sap green. Yellow and sap green. Yellow and sap green. So I guess I'm gonna have to mix those two together. And then he adds yellow ochre into the next one to give it a slightly different flavor. And then he's kind of dotting the shrubbery back there. Okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. What'd you do? Okay. Some sap green and yellow on this one. Okay, so that's a little more greeny yellow, I suppose. Perhaps. And okay, so we're just gonna be like dancing in the other shrubbery colors. Oh, he's just going crazy. Bob! What the heck, Bob? My goodness. He just goes crazy. Okay, so wait, what did he do? Okay, so he was adding the water in. With the dirty brush. And then he starts to put in the land, the shore. See, on the finished product, that looked like there was a lot more happening there than what he did. Oh, okay, there's a, oh. Okay, there's a gray color on that. Alright, well. That was too far back. Okay. Too far back, too far back, too far back. Okay. A little bit further. Alright, so we'll start on that side. So I don't know if you heard my answer or not, Doug. So they seem to be able to. No one's bitched about it. And the city likes to bitch about shit, so I'm fairly certain if they weren't supposed to, we would have been told about it. So. Alright, so we're gonna go with lime green on paint box here. I mean, there's somebody else living in theirs around the corner for like the past couple of years. In like a camper trailer, so if they want to bitch at us for that, then they gotta bitch at them. Alright, I think we'll go with Varsity Gold in Big Twist. Alright. So, we're gonna go ahead and smush, work these two together. Kind of get them all mixed up and pulled apart and worked into each other. This is probably way too much for this shrub. Now he put stickies on this one. I don't think I'm going to be able to really pull that off. And as it is, this might be a little too thick or it might be a little too thin. We'll find out as we get there. Oh, I think that's going to be a little... probably a little much. Then again, maybe not. So let me see if I can pull some of this off. Alright, so this is just a combo of lime green and Varsity Gold from Big Twist and Paint Box. Lime green paint box. varsity gold on the other. Alright, so we're gonna see what happens here. Let's see. See how we go in here. So we don't want it too solid. It's gonna end up being solid in some places though. Just because of how much I have in here. But I'm hoping we've got it thinned out enough. Where we might get a little bit of brown peeking on through. Possibly. We will see. How we do here. Just gonna try to maneuver some of that around just a little bit. It's not bad, it's not bad. Never really know what the fiber is gonna decide to do when we mix two colors together like that. See what gets pulled in what direction and what colors decide that they want to shine. But that's not too bad. Okay. Now this other one, he said he added a little bit of yellow ochre too, so I'm gonna pull this in half, right? And let's see, what's our good yellow ochre color? Probably Glorious Gold is probably our closest ochre. It used to be mustard from Paintbox, but now I've got this darker shade. Don't want a shit ton of it. Just want a bit. Alright, let's see. Let me put the rest of that back in its cubby. Stay. Everybody stay. I forgot to take that down last night. Shit. Cat was rushing me, and I forgot and left the marker up that we're trying to train the fish for. Cat was giving me a bunch of shit about going to bed. She wanted cuddles. Cuddles, cuddles, cuddles. Finally wrapped up what I was doing, said, alright, fine, we'll go to bed. I start getting ready for bed, I'm feeding the fish, I'm rushing getting everything done. Went to the bathroom, came back out, and she vanished. I was like, what? I was like, I thought you wanted cuddles. And now I have no idea where the fuck you went to. Alright, I'm just trying to get these guys kind of mixed into each other here a bit. Just to kind of hope that we don't have too much of one color on one side or the other. Alright, so I'm going to kind of try to lay this in over our shadow here, our dark of our shrub. Just to fill that guy in. Alright, so I don't know how much of our brown is gonna come through on this one. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, so, alright. We're getting interesting color mix here. Like I said, I never know what I'm really gonna get when I mix those colors together. I can kind of tell where some colors are gonna be a little bit stronger by how they've mixed in, depending on how much of one is in there over the other. And you can kind of get a rough idea. I might add a little bit more ochre, or glorious gold rather, to this. So that we get just a little bit more of a color variant in there. Like, I'm not gonna make it solid. I still want it pretty airy in here. This might be a little too thick. We'll see. Like, I don't want to destroy all the other colors in there, but I feel like it just needed a little bit more. I guess our glorious gold's maybe more of an Indian yellow. Maybe more of like a more brown mixed Indian yellow, maybe. But it's probably the closest I have to the ochre. That's just kind of what we're rolling with. Okay, so this did pull in a little bit over here. So we've got a little bit more of that showing than I necessarily want there to be. So we're gonna... The shrub's starting to look a bit more like a pumpkin. Did that pot still have water in it?
Yes.
Okay.
I set a very light boil, so it should be good.
Alright, that should be pretty good. Like, I didn't want to hide all the brown. I just kind of wanted it peeking through. Okay, so we got that. And he kind of comes in and adds some shrubbery in here, right? Hang on. So yeah, so he adds a couple little other things. We're gonna have to pick a different bit of yellow in order to make that work. So maybe some varsity and those are very close. Maybe some varsity and some buttercup. So, stop it. Alright, so we'll grab just a little bit of these guys. I'm going to separate them so I know who's who. Alright. So let's see what we can make happen up in here. Let's see. Kind of set this up in here. Now we have these two different yellows kind of mixed in with each other. We'll see if we can really tell that they're mixed together. Because, you know, never know if something's going to translate a little bit better than others. I mean, it's definitely popping off of the back shrubbery, so that's good. And that's helpful. Now I will say on the paint box brands, depending on the shade, it does feel like there's a little bit more white mixed into the shades, which sometimes comes out. I mean, it's not terrible, but it is a little bit more noticeable sometimes, depending on the shade that it's laying on top of. So do be prepared for that. Okay, so let's see here. Gonna kind of fluff this out just a little bit. If I had hand cards, I would probably try to hand card mix these two together. I don't. At least not this time. I don't. Alright, so grab some of our buttercup. I mean, I could try to use the other brush, but It might get a little scary with all those teeth and using something quite so small that our fingers are going to have to be in the way for. Okay, so we'll get this guy worked into here. Alrighty. Now, he didn't show it yet, but I'd kind of like to do it now while I have these colors out. So I might advance this a little bit further, and then we might jump back a little bit, because I kind of want to get this section's ground in while we have these colors out. So he's putting in the shore there. Okay, he's putting in... Wait, there was no... Our riverbank over here. Do I have the angle wrong on this? Should it be more this way? Because he's got this bank coming in that way. I mean, we can change that a little bit. Okay, hold on. Okay, so he kind of... Okay, so he kind of went with a little bit of a mixture here of... It looks like cad yellow, sap green, and ochre is what it looks like. So... I'm gonna tuck the buttercup in its bag for right now. Okay. What were you? Who were you? You're our varsity. Alright, so tuck you in there. I want to make sure I don't get these colors too mixed together. That little puff is sort of dead to us now because it's mixed color. And alright, this is going to be way too much, I think. I'll leave you up there. Okay. So we're gonna kind of try to pull these strands apart a bit. I think we'll grab mustard because we haven't really touched the mustard yet. Okay, so we're gonna kind of fold these two into each other, kind of work them together. Just to kind of see how well we can get those mixed. And then we'll come back to our lime green. Lime green? Yeah. Alright. We don't want to completely oversaturate with the lime green. You know what? It's only a little bit more left. Alright, so we're gonna kind of mix all these guys together. Kind of see what we're gonna get. Just kind of pulling the fluffs apart from each other. Just kind of creating a mess. And hopefully getting these fiber strands blended with each other. Okay. So, let's see if we can get a little bit of water on there. Let's see what we get. So this is gonna kind of be sort of a surprise. I mean, we know what colors we put in here, but we just don't know how they're gonna behave and how they have blended. I don't want this soaked. I'm just getting a little bit of water here just to help spin this. Looks crazy. The yellow wool. Yeah. We'll see what we can do here. So this might kind of get a little bit lost in here. We will see. I'm gonna kind of do some little like grassy tufts. We don't have a whole lot of green in here, so we'll see how this goes. And I'm gonna take this down to about here for now. That's as far down as we've taken this. Got some longer grassy weeds and stuff. So we will see. And we'll have a little bit of the brown kind of helping with the shades and stuff. For our dirt. Alright, so as we're trimming, we're getting more of a raw edge on the next set. Like not quite so polished and rounded and stuff, so that will actually work to our advantage here. Kind of make it look like little grassy dews kind of sticking up and doing their thing. And be careful not to cut your project and to just cut the loose threads here, loose fibers. kind of showing. You okay?
Yep.
You sure?
Yep.
Is your game not going well?
I had a moment.
Do I need to do anything for
Nope.
you? Okay. Alright. So we'll get this worked into here. Alrighty. It's tough when he uses so much of the same color in a section. Because then it's like, well, what the fuck? I'm... Like, because he's got the paint that he can spoosh around, right? So he can get brush strokes and stuff to convey different things happening. We kind of have to go about it a little bit differently. Now, I'm okay if we've got some brown showing through here. That might actually help us if we have it poking through randomly. Might help us with a little bit of spacing. We will see. He's got it pretty solid in here. We've got a lot of fiber in here. I can feel how thick it is. This boy's stiff. He's got so much fiber going on. Alright. So let's get this guy worked in over here. So this is gonna take a little bit as you work in your grasses here, and you're gonna end up with a little bit of color variance as you run out. So when we run out of this bit and we have to mix some more, it's gonna be slightly different shades depending on how much we get put in here of each one again. So it's gonna be a little different. If that's gonna be something that's gonna bother the ever-living shit out of you, you might want to make sure that you've mixed enough before you get too far into it if you don't want any variation in there. So the next row, I'm gonna just try to have the top just barely covering the bottom of the previous. So we'll just kind of see how we go. and see how things tend to fall into place. I'm not going to worry too much about this seam because I'm going to do a strip of black to outline our mill here to give it a little bit more definition. And that strip of black will probably cover that little bit of a uneven edge there. It's finally cool in Florida all day long. Well, I wonder how long that's gonna last. We're in the 70s today. Like, I think I got down to 40 last night. And we put the heat on for the first time this morning because my mom said she was cold. It was a little chilly in here, but I've got our window open now. Not very far, but I do have it open since it warmed up to like 72. I actually had a coat on last night when we went to the store. I picked up a new pullover the other night. My mom bought it because we're like, it's not going to be quite cold enough for my other jacket. I have to find my other jacket. I think it's in one of my clothing bins, but I'm not 100% sure where. I know I still have it. Cats could have knocked it off where I had it. I don't know. I gotta dig for it. But I grabbed this $10 pink monstrosity of a half zip pullover. And I grabbed a 2X because I'm a little bit heavier nowadays. And I actually thought I had grabbed a 3. Apparently I misread the X's on there. So I was like, I'd rather have a 3 so that way I have room to move in this pullover. I don't like stuff being real tight on me. Never really have. And went to put it on last night when we were walking out the door, and I'm like, this feels kind of tight. Tighter than I was expecting, and then I realized that it was a 2X, not a 3X. I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's not too tight then. And I was like, but the bottom's kind of tight. Like, what is this? And, is he okay?
Yeah.
Okay. The way he said that, I thought he was going to say something else, but... I couldn't figure out why it was so tight, and he's like, well, you're going to be able to wear it? I'm like, well, I'm going to have to. And we got home and I went to take it off, and then I realized that there was a drawstring around the bottom waistline, the bottom edge of the pullover that was adjustable. I was like, oh, that would explain why it was quite so tight. It was warm though. I was mad it wasn't a full zip, that it was a pullover. Are you okay?
As good as I'm gonna be. It's fine.
Okay. Right. Until like January if you're lucky. Really, it starts warming up that soon? I was seeing some weather forecasts that were saying that this year in Florida it might actually be more chilly, like this coming winter. Like, you guys might actually get more of a taste of winter. I have a half sibling that lives in Florida. They are in the Tampa area. And I believe I have an aunt that lives down in that same area, if not the same town, as the half sibling. You doubt it? Guess we'll see. It was just like a thumbnail video on YouTube, so who the fuck knows? I mean, it might have, I don't know if they really knew what they were talking about, or if they're just a couch meteorologist that have no idea what they're really talking about. A pretend one. We'll see. Our local forecast, they're predicting that we're gonna have, at the very least, a more chilly winter than we did last year. Which is kind of concerning because we were in the negatives for about a week. Here and there. Like, our wind chill at one point during one of the bad fronts that came through was like minus 18, minus 20, and that was not normal for here. I mean, we get snow from time to time. It's more ice storms usually than snow, but that far below zero for wind chill, not exactly normal. We were so happy our pipes didn't freeze, because a lot of the newer constructed homes did. You're about 2 hours away from Tampa? Yeah, I think he's, I don't think he's that far out of Tampa. Maybe like a half hour, if that. I think he's like on the outer edges of it. You guys kind of had a quiet hurricane season so far, haven't you? I mean, it's starting to wind down, but you guys kind of dodged a lot of it. Like, there's really not that many made landfall this year. You remember that you had hail last year and that was crazy? We get hail sometimes here, but in our area, it's usually like pea size or nickel. Oklahoma gets crazy sized hail. Like, a lot of their storm warnings, I've seen golf ball sized hail, I've seen softball sized hail. I'm like, oh my god. And then there'll just be video of like rear windshields and side windows just punched out of cars, and I'm like, oh my god, I couldn't handle that. The auto glass people must really love storm season there. So many windows and windshields that need to be replaced. We're coming up on our second severe season. If we get it. Hurricane season's basically over. Yeah, I mean, you're pretty much there, right? Like, you don't really get that many that pop up and make landfall there after like mid-October. I don't think the Gulf really had any real hurricane issues this year. Which was kind of surprising. I guess some weather patterns changed. It seemed like they were just getting slammed left, right, and center the one year. They'd still be trying to clean up from one, and another one was coming on in. Like around like Louisiana and Alabama and all that. Yeah, it was pretty rough in that specific area. I remember the last time we were in Florida, Hurricane Michael almost made that not happen. Because it was sort of, for me, it was a last minute book. I didn't like booking that close to when we were going to be going. But the opportunity arose and I took it. I usually book like 6-7 months out. And I think we booked like 2 months out, maybe 3. So to me that's last minute booking. So yeah, you're down in Port Charlotte area. We got wiped out with the last one. Yeah, I know that fort. So what was the last one? Was that Ophelia? I know Ian did a whole bunch of damage. One of them, my brother was actually, half-brother, was actually a little bit nervous about, or he was actually prepping for it. He had a friend in the one that hit Fort Myers area last year. Yeah, I don't remember. I used to know them pretty well, but there's too much other shit going on in my brain. And his friend had a whole bunch of, like, I don't know if they were $1 million cars, but they were certainly very expensive cars that were worth quite a bit of money, like at least a couple $100,000, and he lost like all of them. They were like floating down the street. He was in the salt water, and I was like, okay, maybe you should have tried to evacuate those cars somehow. Paid a friend to drive them out of there. Or paid to have them hauled out or something. I don't know how he meets these people. Like, he doesn't have that much money. He's got... He has enough to get by on. He still has he has a security camera business up in New Jersey. Although he might be getting ready to sell that. Or he might not be operating out of New Jersey temporarily because he's getting tired of traveling back and forth from Florida to Jersey to deal with bullshit. The last time my mom said anything about it. So I don't know if he's just temporarily stopping the New Jersey business or if he's gonna sell it to somebody. I don't know. But he's had that business a long time. And he was a cop. He had to retire early. Because he was in a car accident on his way to a call. He had, from what I understand, he had lights and sirens going. And a school bus ran a stop sign and T-boned his police car. With his canine dog inside. I think the canine dog was okay. He had to have a rod put in his back. Because a couple of his vertebrae got fucked up. So I think he ended up doing early retirement. And then he sued the city because of the school bus. I can't remember if that settled out of court or if he had to go through with the full lawsuit. Alright, I'm actually not going to mix more of that color right now because I just saw what time it was. And I don't want to have to keep track of a bundle of color overnight to make sure nothing happens to it. So he got an undisclosed amount of money. I mean, my mom might know, but I don't. from that. And then sometime later, he ended up selling his house in New Jersey and apparently moved to Florida. I think he's in the Port New Richie area, somewhere like that. Supposedly. You would assume a good 1K or something. Yeah, it had to be pretty substantial. So I'm sure he had his dash cam going. And last I heard, he had a flea market stall down there selling swimsuits and beachwear. He tried to do like a strip mall location on top of it, and that wasn't getting enough foot traffic, so he bailed out of that. People that move to Florida blow my mind. It's not that nice in my opinion. Yeah, we were thinking about it for when the time comes. However, some things have changed since we were originally thinking about it. And I was really nervous about the hurricane aspect because it's hard to get insurance now from what I'm hearing. And if we lose our home, whatever that would end up being, we're fucked. So that was what was making me really hesitant. And then some other stuff kind of happened. And then I'm like, well, I don't know. Where I want to live, we can't afford to live down there, so that's off the table already. And because I love Key West, it's my home away from home. We can't afford to live there though, and it's so expensive. And it floods so bad just on a full moon, and I'm like, not very many high places on the island. So that'd be a little tricky. But yeah, so we've taken Florida off the table. Off of that list. So, because I'm so nervous about the hurricane aspect, because I've seen so many people just lose everything and then they're fucked. So I'm like, I don't want to risk that. Plus the insurance would probably be out of sight. But it would probably push us out of our budget. But we got married in Key West. We had our first face-to-face vacation together in Key West because we met on the internet. You're a sensible person. Teach everyone else that. Like, well, we're on a tight budget, right? So we have to think about these things. We're like, okay, well, how much is insurance? Car insurance. What happens if X happens? Like, we have to have some kind of plan in place, or at least some direction of knowing what to do if crisis A, B, or C happens. Now, you can't plan for everything. I know this. But you know that hurricanes hit the state, so it has to be a thought that lands in your mind, because, the state's only so big, and the hurricanes are much bigger sometimes, and it's gonna, you might not be in the eye, but you're gonna get a piece of it, more than likely. And you have to have, just because you have, like, one type of insurance doesn't mean that's gonna cover everything, because sometimes some insurance doesn't cover flooding and you have to get additional flood insurance. And because I've heard stories of people saying, our insurance didn't cover it because they considered it flood and not this, even though this caused that. So you're fucked. Like, it's you gotta think of these things. And because this would be like a last move for us, it's something I definitely have to think about. I kind of wanted to go back to New Jersey because I know I can get around there on public transportation if it comes to it. And I can't afford it. Like, we both can't afford it. On our budget. It's just not going to happen. Taxes are just too much there. In most of the places that we would probably look at. Things might change down the road, so we'll see what happens. But that probably wouldn't happen. Oh yeah, you don't. Yeah, I have like a fucking panic attack every time. So, they had a decent transportation system there. It wasn't the greatest, but it was decent, and I could navigate it. I had to for a while. I could get back and forth to work and get home. That was anxiety inducing enough, but I could do it if I had to. So, you know, we have a whole bunch of list of things that we have to look at whenever we get around to making a decision on where we're gonna finally end up. We could end up staying here. I don't think we will. Things would have to drastically change where we're at. Or something would have to happen and we would just kind of be stuck. But we'll probably try to get out of this particular area at the very least. Cause yeah. Don't forget to see if there's a Walmart so you don't feel so out of home. They're everywhere just about, but you know, it is kind of is what it is. And I was never really a Walmart person till we moved down here, and now I'm like I'm not a cheerleader for Walmart by any stretch of the means, but they're cheaper than Target in this area. If we move out of this area and there's not a Sam's Club where we go, if there's a BJ's or a Costco, we might get one of those in place of. Because it does kind of help with our budget to be able to buy some stuff in bulk. We don't buy everything in bulk, but we buy some things. Like, we were going through the freezer when we were separating out the meat and making meal bags for me to cook from, to freeze. And Russell's like, oh, you had a lot left from last month. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know why, because I cooked every day last month, but all right. There's a little fly. Right.
You have someone greeting you.
Hello, AC. Sorry it's been so long since I've been here long enough to chat. I hope you've been well. Yeah. I've been okay. We're all right. We're kind of just, you know, we're here. We're surviving through another day. Well, there are super Targets that do have them. I'd kind of like to check out a Publix grocery store, but I think I only vaguely remember being in one once. That might have been when we were in Florida. We had ShopRite up in New Jersey. That was like our only grocery store option. There was a BJ's, I think, but we never went there. There was an Acme, but it really wasn't in our area, and I don't even know if Acme is still in business, to be perfectly honest. Publix is expensive? Okay. See, I didn't know. I have nothing to really compare prices to. We have Harps here, and we have Walmart, and Harps can be up to $1 more on some stuff, if not more, than Walmart. It kind of depends on the item. So it's kind of meh. So Walmart's cheaper and fits our budget better right now. But see, these are also things we have to look at. So we might do a scouting trip when it comes time to make a decision, and we've got a list of places narrowed down, and like go there and see what the area's like, see what our options are before we really seriously start hunting in that area. The burgers were okay. They're pretty good. they were like little sliders, but they were thick, but I squished them pretty flat, so they spread out, so they were a lot bigger. And they cooked a lot more evenly. And then we did Russell had some pre-cooked bacon in the freezer, so I heated some of that up, and we made them into little bacon cheeseburger sliders, and one of those is good enough for my mom because she can't eat that much because of her acid reflux, or her GERD on top of her acid reflux or whatever, so she can only eat small amounts for a sit-down meal apparently. So that one of those was good enough for her, and Russell kind of liked it, but sometimes he doesn't like them. And I thought they were fine. Then we had our waffle fries. Yeah, it's a really bad habit of mine. I always talk with my hands. Very awkward with my hands. I never know what to do with them. So I hope you've been good, AC. Appreciate you popping in. So this is how far we got today. We finished filling in our dark, our dirt colors. And we got in the darkness of our tree, our shadowing there, and then we started to fill in our shrub tree colors back in here, and we had like a little bit of a shrub line in front of those, and now we're kind of just working on filling in our grass over here. So we've got that going on, but yeah, I mean, I was sad when I had to take Florida off the table. But okay place to visit, at least. I don't know if I would like living there. I had an aunt that lived there too for the longest time in Tampa. I think Russell's grandmother lived there for a while before she...
Yeah, they had a little summer trailer home there.
So they traveled back and forth. Did they travel back and forth from here to there, or from New Hampshire to there?
From New Hampshire to there.
From New Hampshire to there.
No, my grandmother moved here after they sold that after my grandfather died.
Oh, okay. I didn't know when...
When she got to the point where she couldn't stand going down to Florida every year.
Uh-huh. Really?
Yeah. So she sold the Florida one and moved down here.
That's interesting. Just got tired of it, or...
She got too old. She couldn't do the travel.
Oh. Okay, and there was nobody to travel with her. But, for you living in Florida all your life, you wouldn't recommend it? No, I'm sure it has its own drawbacks once you've lived there long enough and you've gotten... You know the things. You know all the insider info. I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of other places that seem awesome from the outside. Because, when you're just visiting, you don't really get the full sense of what's going on. So it's kind of why I want to take a couple of days when we try to figure out where we're going to go. And, or where, at least shorten our list dramatically. And, try to figure that out. See who looks good. Drive through the neighborhoods, kind of see what's happening, and just kind of looking up the local news for that area and see what's going on, what the deal is, what it looks like over like a month, just kind of look at their latest headlines and stuff. But that's gonna be quite some time out before we do that, so I'm sure things will change several times over between then and now, depending on the area. But, we'll see what happens with all of that. So tomorrow, you guys, we're going to pick back up, we'll mix some more of our mustard, lime green, and Gloria's Gold together. And we'll make another snaky do, and we'll start to, finish filling in this. We should be able to finish filling in this section tomorrow, and then we'll move on over to here. And as Bob was doing that, I realized that my angle might be off a little bit here. So when we get down into here, I might pull this riverbank over just a little bit more. I might curve him out to here. We might adjust that a little bit. I don't know. We gotta see. I might just leave well enough alone with that and just be, that's just how ours is situated. But yeah, so we have to do this guy. We have to do our little horizon shrubs going in front of the purple stuff. And then we'll start to fill in this section too. So, he did start to add in the river after he did this. I'm going to take this down to here because I think I got my proportions pretty wrong. And this might have supposed to have been a little bit shorter, but you know, whatever. This is ours. We're just kind of following along with him guiding us on our journey. So, you know, that is what it is. And I also blame being from South Jersey with the hand talking. But you know, that could be it. That's what we're gonna say it is anyway. And me being me and my brain being weird. But yeah, so that's the plan for tomorrow. Don't know if we're doing a bonus Planet Zoo stream tomorrow night. I don't think we will this week. Because the husband didn't start his animals yet, even though he was done his party area. I have some ideas for my party area. I don't know if I'm gonna throw those booths, those counters in tents, or if I'm gonna just make some little like tiki huts to put around them. We might just do the tiki huts. To give it a little bit more theming, but that might take me the entirety of next week landscaping that. So next week we might have to do an extra stream because I'm sure he's starting animals next week. So we'll worry about that then. So I hope to see you guys tomorrow for us picking this back up. If I don't, that's okay too. I hope you have a good week. Hope the rest of your Sunday goes well. Any of your sports teams that might be doing things tonight, I hope they do well. And I have to go finish making dinner. Don't forget to follow all the socially do's down below. That would be great. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.